Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining me today. My name is Sarah Davis, and I'm with the Illinois State Museum. Today we're at the Research and Collection Center to take a look at some of the plants we have here in the collection and learn a little bit more about the plant life cycle. So have you ever thought about how plants grow? Or maybe where does a plant start? I know, it starts out as a seed. So that's where we're going to start on our life cycle. So all living things, plants, animals, even us people, have a life cycle. And it goes around in a big circle. So our plant life cycle we're going to take a look at is a sunflower. So it starts out as a teeny tiny little seed. And that seed grows into a sprout. And then that sprout gets a little bigger and becomes a smaller plant that grows and grows until you start to get a flower bud on it. And that flower bud then turns into the actual flower. So you start to see petals, and then it'll bloom and it'll open up. And once it blooms, then you get pollinators like birds and bees and butterflies to come visit the flower, and they eat the pollen and transfer the pollen from one flower to another, which is called pollination, which helps create seeds in your flower. And at the end of a plant's life cycle, when the plant starts to die, those seeds fall off and either are carried away by the wind or birds or other animals to a new place where the new seeds can grow. But once it's finished its life cycle, a new one starts with the seed, and the seed grows, and then it just continues to go around in one big circle. So let's take a look at some of the plants in our collection and the different parts of those plants. So the first one we're going to look at is the sunflower. Sunflowers come in lots of different shapes, from little and small like this one to some of them are as big as your head. So the different parts of the sunflower, you have the first here, you've got the yellow petals, and then in the middle of the petals are the seeds, and in this case they're black seeds. And you've got your stem, and you've got your big green leaves, and some other things that we see with this sunflower is we've got our bud that's just getting ready to bloom, and then the sunflower that is at the end of its life cycle, and the flower is dying, and the seeds are coming out and are getting ready to fall off. So a favorite pollinator of the sunflower is the painted lady butterfly, which you can see right here, and also the American bumblebee. And the next plant we're going to take a look at from our collection is milkweed. So milkweed can be found all over Illinois on roadsides and prairies, and you can even plant it in your garden. And milkweed gets really tall. It can be as tall as me or as tall as you. And it starts out with its big long stalk and its bigger, broader, flat leaves that come up to the flower, which for the common milkweed is typically white and actually smells really nice. And another cool thing with the milkweed is it's got big seed pods that when you pop them open, they've got the little tiny seeds are attached to cotton feather-like fluffy petals that help carry them on the wind to transfer the seeds to other parts to get planted. So a favorite pollinator of the milkweed is the monarch butterfly, and the monarch butterfly will lay its eggs on the milkweed leaves. So when the egg hatches and the caterpillar comes out, the caterpillar has food right at its fingertips. So it has all it needs to eat right there when it hatches. And it eats the leaves of the milkweed because the milkweed is a special plant in that it's poisonous. So other animals and even people don't want to eat it because it can make you really sick. But the caterpillar has adapted and is able to eat the milkweed and not get sick. but then in turn, it makes the caterpillar and the butterfly not taste good to other animals. So other animals aren't going to eat the caterpillar or the butterfly. The next plant we're going to look at from our collection is goldenrod. So what's special about this particular goldenrod plant is you can actually see the roots at the bottom. So the roots are planted deep in the soil, and it's what holds the plant in the ground, but also the food and water that the plant needs comes up the roots and travels up the stem into the leaves and all the way up into the flower petals. So the leaves on the goldenrod are narrow and a little thinner than some of the other ones we've seen. And the goldenrod, as you might have guessed from its name, is a yellow, the flowers are a yellow golden color, and the petals are really tiny, and they make up lots of little flowers that are on the stem. And a favorite pollinator of the goldenrod is the locust borer beetle, which you can see right here. And this beetle is yellow and black striped, and it's a little on the smaller side with big antennas on the top. And another plant we'll take a look at is the prairie thistle. And the prairie thistle is a little different than some of the other ones we've seen today because its leaves are a little spiky and pointed at the ends. So it might not be one that you want to touch all that often because it might be a little pokey. But the stem and the leaves come all the way up to these flower pods, and the flower pods, the bottom are where your seeds are, and then it comes to a point with the head of it having your flower petals. So it's kind of like a big head with big spiky flower hair at the top. And the prairie thistle, this prairie thistle is purple, it has purple flower petals on it. And a favorite pollinator of the prairie thistle, just like with the sunflower, is the painted lady butterfly. So it also likes to visit the prairie thistle to drink the nectar and help it create its seeds. The last plant from our collection that we're going to take a look at is the purple prairie clover, which you can see right here. And this one has a long stem and has really tiny needle leaves on it. So kind of like a pine tree needles, but just smaller. And they've got little stems that shoot off of the longer one, and that's where all the leaves are. And each one of these are flower pods where you will get the little flower petals shooting off of. And this prairie thistle is purple, as you can see with the purple flower petals. And when all the flower petals fall off, these guys here, these are your seed pods. So that's where your seeds are going to be at the end of its life cycle, and the seeds are going to fall off from here. And a favorite pollinator of the prairie clover is the American bumblebee that you can see right here. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you learned a little more about the different plants in our collection and the plant life cycle.